We both straight.
Shields up, Ironbreakers. Rurikhan here coming at you with another video, and today we're going to be talking about Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition for the PlayStation 5. This title was sent to me by Capcom so that I could give it a look and tell you guys my opinions on it. For those of you that are not familiar with the Devil May Cry series, this is a spectacle fighter, which basically means you're going to be playing as a character that is going to be beating the crap out of demons, and he's going to be doing so in style. What do I mean by in style? It basically means that they want you to vary your combos around and the different attacks that you have available to you, and basically try to chain them together in a way that kind of flows. So the more diverse your combo repertoire is, the more diverse the weapons you use are in a certain combo, the more you are able to juggle your enemies while you are swapping between different combat techniques, the better you're going to be doing, and you're going to be graded by your style as you are killing demons. That's kind of like the whole point of Devil May Cry. It's kill demons and do it in style. And by watching the gameplay in the background, you're going to be like, well, what you're doing doesn't look that stylish, Rurikhan. And yes, that's because while I really like Devil May Cry, I also have to admit I'm not particularly good at playing it. I really enjoy playing it, but when it comes to really achieving super mega high scores, this game is incredibly fast-paced, and personally, I still struggle a little bit with it. But anyways, when it comes to Devil May Cry 5, this, as you guys know, being a special edition, it means that this game already came out in the previous generation of consoles. It's almost like a remaster of sorts that is coming out for the new generation of consoles. And what I can tell you is that I would highly recommend this game for pretty much anyone that still hasn't played Devil May Cry 5, because it is an incredibly fun game, even if, like me, you're not the best person at juggling combos together and whatnot. You can still have a ton of fun with it. The game also has certain tools that you can use that will make it easier for you to just style through demons. There's combo assists mode and whatnot. There's easier difficulties if you struggle with this kind of stuff. Even though personally I still play on normal, and I even then on some bosses I still struggle a little bit here and there. But it is still an incredibly fun game that I would very highly recommend to people, because it's one of those things. You play a little bit, and then when you start understanding how certain moves work and certain weapons work, you start getting a little bit better, and then you're like, okay, now let me go into customization thing, and let me add some new combos into my repertoire, and let me try doing this with this weapon, and that will link up with this other attack that I like doing. And it does become more interesting, even if you don't get to like the peak of like constantly doing triple S combos and whatnot. It's still a very enjoyable action game, and I've already made like 2 different videos on it when it came out for PlayStation 4, which if you guys are curious on my opinion of the actual game itself, because today we're going to be focusing more on the special edition features that this is going to be bringing. But if you want to know more about my opinion on the original release, you can check those videos out. There's also a live stream with like 2 hours of gameplay or something like that. But basically, suffice it to say, I greatly enjoyed the original, and I would highly recommend anyone that hasn't played the original yet to check this out, because it's also going to be selling at a cheaper price, considering that most PlayStation 5 games, I believe, are currently in the $70 range or something along that nature, depending on where you live, because in Portugal, actually, there's quite a few of them that are 80 euros, which is, yeah. So, Devil May Cry 5 is going to be a little bit more accessible, and if you haven't played it before on PlayStation 4, I would heavily recommend. In terms of visuals, it's a fantastic looking game. It's got fantastic animations, very stylish. In terms of sounds, the same thing. It's a great sound. It's a fantastic soundtrack. But what does it bring new in comparison with the PlayStation 4? So the very first thing is they're going to give you an additional character to play with, which is Virgil. And this actually makes me want them to add like a special mode to the game, which is when you're playing through the game and in normal mode, story mode, it's basically going to cycle through 3 different characters. It's going to cycle through Nero, V, and Dante, which are 3 characters from Devil May Cry, right? And as you are playing through the game, depending on which level you are, you're going to have a selection of which ones you can use. Whereas if you play as Virgil, you basically get to play every single level as Virgil, who is an extremely powerful character, as you guys will probably be watching from the gameplay in the background. And let me tell you right now that because of the fact that I'm not amazing at playing this game, Virgil is way more powerful than I can make it look in the footage that you guys are watching. But you can play through the whole game with Virgil. Every single level, you can just be Virgil and, enjoy it that way. And I almost wish that they would have added a mode where I could, like, for instance, play the game from the beginning as Dante, or play the game from the beginning as V. Because it would just be a cool thing to explore these different characters. Like, I think the first time that you play through the game, yeah, you should still experience it with, the cinematic experience of like, okay, now you're playing as Nero, now you're playing as V, now you're playing as Dante. But after finishing the game, I think it'd be pretty cool if I could just pick up V or Dante and play through every single level the same way that you can do with Virgil right now. I think that'd just be a fun feature to have. But anyway, now you guys are asking, okay, so you get Virgil. What about people that played the PlayStation 4 version? What's going to happen with that? Because there's a lot of people there that also greatly enjoy Virgil and they're fans of Virgil. They're going to be left in the dust. And no, Virgil is going to be coming as a downloadable content in December, I believe. So you'll be able to play Virgil on the PlayStation 4 version as well. So what other goodies are we going to be getting with the special edition? Well, there's a new mode called Legendary Dark Knight. And what does this do? This basically increases the number of demons that show up in every single fight of the game. I was actually very surprised by the ridiculous amounts of demons that suddenly start spawning, because it almost becomes a Dynasty Warriors game at some point, because like every place you swing your sword to, you're gonna hit something. Now that does make it a lot easier for you to reach the higher levels of combos. Like you can get the sweet sexy style a lot faster than before, but it also makes it harder because you are going to be overwhelmed by monsters. So that's kind of like a new way to experience the game, just like going through it, and there's like hordes and hordes of demons in every single fight that you go through. And I believe that even in boss fights, you will have demons spawning in the middle of the boss fight, which adds additional challenge, but also gives you more fuel to fill up your style gauge and also increase your score at the end of the level. Now, besides that, there's also a turbo mode, and turbo mode is basically a mode where you play the game and it's 20% faster, and you can actually stack this with Legendary Dark Knight if you want to, which would basically mean that the game is faster and at the same time throws more enemies at you. For all of you speed freaks out there that just want to I want to go fast, I want to kill things faster, I want to have more demons come at me. I think it's actually pretty cool experiencing the game in that mode, particularly if you're a huge Devil May Cry fan. I think that'll be pretty sweet. And then they add a couple of additional bells and whistles in terms of visuals. I mean, obviously the game's going to look better visually because they're going to up like the visual fidelity of the game a little bit. They're going to up the resolution a little bit when compared to the PlayStation 4 version. But on top of it, they are adding a ray tracing mode, which, in my opinion, is something that you really don't want in a Devil May Cry 5 game. I mean, sure, it would be cool to have the ray tracing, but the drawback of using ray tracing mode is that then the target frame rate is going to be 30 FPS. And it's like, the game feels great when you're playing it at 60 or higher. If you put it at 30, then basically the gameplay just doesn't feel nearly as good. This is an extremely fast-paced action game, and trying to play it at 30 FPS is just not adequate, in my opinion. You really want to have those 60 FPS or higher. But besides having the ray tracing mode, they're also going to be adding a high frame rate mode, which is going to be something for everyone out there that actually plays this like on a gaming monitor. If you have like a monitor that supports 120 hertz or something of that nature, you're going to be able to experience up to 120 FPS. So basically they reduce the graphics a little bit and just give you full-on maximum FPS. And to be honest, I think that might actually be a really cool experience, but I myself only have 60 hertz monitors, so I'm sorry, I couldn't really test out that mode. But I'm pretty sure that that would be the ideal way to play. And I'm glad that they're actually trying something a little bit different, a little bit above the 60 FPS mark, because I've always said, like, give me more frame rate and less graphical bells and whistles. Like, sure, I like pretty visuals as much as the next guy, but you make it run faster, and I'll take the fast route every single time. Every single time that a game would give me like a performance mode on PS4, or eventually if they give you performance modes on PS5, I'm always gonna go performance. Like Demon Souls, same thing. They give you like the cinematic mode with 30 FPS. I'm like, no, screw that. Give me the 60 FPS mode every single time, but that's just me. Naturally, the game is also going to include the Bloody Palace DLC, but at this point, I haven't really finished the game on the PlayStation 5 version, and I can't bring in my save from PS4. This is actually something that annoys me a little bit in regards to the kind of like the generation separation of the PlayStation 5, because PlayStation 4 titles have one save, PlayStation 5 titles have a different save, and it's not particularly easy to import those saves. It looks like it's going to be on the developer's side to like make something that allows you to export the save from a previous version to then import the save into the PlayStation 5 version. And right now I don't even have my PS4 hooked up, so even if that feature was available to export my save file from the PS4 version of the game to then import it back on the PS5 version of the game, I wouldn't be able to do it. And also, I don't believe that's actually a feature that's available. So basically, if you're getting the PS5 version, most likely you're going to have to start from scratch, which I think this is something that Sony themselves have to work on to just like make it a little bit easier for us to get our PS4 saves into a PlayStation 5 game, which was something that I noticed pretty much from day one. I think it doesn't make a whole lot of sense the way that the console is handling save files at this point, but that's kind of like an unrelated topic for a different video. Overall, when it comes to Devil May Cry Special Edition, I think that this is a great proposition for anyone that has not played Devil May Cry 5 on the PS4. You know, if you're someone that just didn't get around to actually playing the game and you're thinking about getting it, then yes, I would highly recommend. I think it's a really fun game, and with all the additional features, I think you'll have a lot of fun. However, I also feel that it's a bit of a kick in the teeth for the people that did buy the PlayStation 4 version, because the only thing that they're going to be able to get out of all of the goodies of the special edition is the Virgil DLC. So basically, what does this mean? If you actually have a PlayStation 5 and you pull up the the PlayStation 4 version of your Devil May Cry 5 game, it's not going to have any of these graphical updates. And I think that that is something that should just be free. At least I don't think you're going to be getting them, because I looked at the website and I was looking at the features that you can get on the PS4 version, and they specifically say you cannot get the additional features like Legendary Dark Knight, Turbo Mode, and the visual upgrades. You're not going to be able to get those if all you own is the PlayStation 4 version of the game. And, you know, I think it would be way cooler and way better in terms of like consumer friendliness for people to just be able to like, hey, look, just let me have the visual upgrades. Like, it's visual upgrades, for crying out loud. Just shoot out a patch and patch that thing to be fully compatible with the PlayStation 5 with the new visuals and whatnot. And sure, and then you can charge people for like the Virgil DLC and maybe include the Legendary Dark Knight and Turbo Mode, whatever. Sure, I think that's fair to charge, because that's actually new content, right? That's things that they're adding into the game. But visual fidelity, I got to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed that that was just not something that was baseline, because, you know, that's just another speed bump along the way for people that are thinking about adopting the new generation. It's like, oh, so does this mean I don't get this upgrade on this PS4 title that I have, even though you guys made like a PS5 version? I can't get the visual updates. I mean, it's visual updates like a PC, you know. At this point, that upgrade, it's almost like a PC. It's like, oh, I get a better GPU, I get the better visuals, right? At least that's the way that I think about it. I was a little bit disappointed by that, but you know, it is what it is. Anyway, let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Thank you all very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, hit the like button. If you did not enjoy it, the dislike button. Feedback is important. If you usually enjoy my content, subscribe, bell notification icon, all of that stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Stay strong, stay safe, peace out.
We both spring these things.